The PV Specialist designation was first brought on by Katie Muck, who had the great idea for the PV Specialist program. She helped develop it with David Moyers, Nancy Gunther, and Roger Vaught. They felt that this class would help agents become better agents. The Palos Verdes Specialist course is a 3-day class. The first day is at the library. The Palos Verdes library has a ton of knowledge and really great material about the history of Palos Verdes, starting with the Itsubishi farms, then to Vanderlip, who purchased Palos Verdes in 1913 for $1.6 million, all 16,000 acres. It's interesting to know that Palos Verdes was known as the first planned community in the United States. After day one, we've got a lot of our history. We have a pretty big understanding of how it incorporated all the way up until today. Then I take a bus tour and I visit 2 different cities for each of the next 2 following days. Those city visits end up being really great information because the city wants the realtors to know more about how to do business with them, and it's a win-win. The city is getting really good information out to the agents are learning about how to work with the city. So we'll do 2 city visits and we'll do a tour of the area where I take it upon myself to really start to talk about each area in its dollar per square foot. How does these little geographical areas that we call MLS number, how does that correspond to values for a realtor? Once we get through the history and understand some of the backbone, then we bring it to today's standards and discuss what are the values in this area, what's the highest sale ever, what's the current active listings highest amount, and then what's the highest sale amount in the last 6 months. So I try not only to say where the homes are in the last 6 months, but what historically has been the norm in this area. There's some great stories that people have told me about doing real estate in Palos Verdes. There's one guy who had a huge house and he actually had cars buried in his lot. I mean, you run into some certain things that you would just never guess, but because we've got such a historic environment, it creates an opportunity to have these other events that you wouldn't normally see. I've gotten a lot of comments from realtors just saying it far exceeded my expectations. They didn't realize that this was a course with so much depth. Another thing from the class, I've had students come up to me and say, Jason, I tried to practice some of that history that you were talking about, and I talked to my client about the way this place used to be, and they got so excited that we really started to bond, and I have rapport with this guy now, and I'm gonna write an offer for him. And I said, A+, that's what you do. People have said that after taking the class, they're educated, but also passionate. And I try to bring the passion into this because I care so much about our environment and what it was like before. I find that passion usually leads someone, it's contagious. If I smile, you smile. When you complete the course, you're recognized in front of the board of realtors at the board breakfast. You get a pin that you can wear anytime that then signifies your involvement. You're also put on the website for the PVPAR website for the Palos Verdes Specialists. There's a huge database of agents that have concluded the course. You have a giant course book which talks about each of the 4 cities. And all that reading material that you can use. I've lived here my whole life. I've been in real estate almost 20 years, and every time I take the class, I learn something.